It is 3 years today since we left the EU. Happy birthday, Brexit.
Happy birthday to you.
Brexit was just a bunch of complete and total lies.
Happy birthday to you.
And those who had been exporting to the EU have had huge issues over the last 2 years.
Happy birthday, dear Brexit.
We have lost thousands of frontline staff in nursing and in direct social care because of Brexit.
Happy birthday to you. The interesting times. Hello everyone, my name's Matt Johnson and welcome to The Interesting Times, a show that likes to take a sideways swipe at politics right here in the UK. It was the third anniversary of Brexit this week. We left the EU 3 years ago last Tuesday evening, and like a lot of 3-year-olds, we are talking nonsense.
The first major benefit was the vaccine rollout. Literally, Brexit saved lives.
It is literally true that Brexit helped save lives.
What are the three best achievements since getting Brexit done, would you say, Minister?
Biggest impact we've seen over the last couple of years is probably the Britain's ability to fulfil its own vaccine programme.
Well, you'll be aware, of course, the independent website Full Facts say that's not true, and even the boss of our own MHRA, Dr. June Rain, has also said that's not true. So
well, we could have
can we strike that one out?
You're absolutely right. You could have done it within the EU.
Having toilet trouble?
Raw sewage being pumped into the sea at Bexhill.
Well, this is just one of the many outlets where raw sewage is pumped out.
And it's in Rachel's backyard. For the last 6 months, she says she's seen more here than ever.
And badly need to be shipped off to school for some education.
Being told how difficult everything is. It's not difficult. Leaving is quite straightforward. We'll leave and we will be better for it.
It's starting to look like the worst idea we've had in the last 6.5 years.
Boris Johnson is set to walk in this door behind me tomorrow as Britain's next Prime Minister.
All right, second worst idea.
Well, it is 3 years today since we left the EU.
Today, NHS waiting lists are actually at an all-time high.
Net migration is actually at 440,000 right now. That is an all-time high.
Teachers are striking, and in real terms, per pupil funding is no higher than in 2010.
Real-term wages are actually falling fast. There's been a drop of 4%.
The LSE has said that Brexit has in fact added £210 to the average household food bill over 2 years.
The UK economy, not so resurgent just today, forecast by the IMF to perform worse than all other advanced nations this year, including Russia.
Note to self, don't let Emily Mattis read me any bedtime stories. But there's got to be some Brexit benefits, hasn't there? Anywhere?
Why do you think Brexit's going well?
Oh, I think Brexit's going well for a whole range of reasons.
Give me some.
No longer subject to the VNUC regulation, which was an extra charge on insurance for lawnmowers.
A reduction in insurance on lawnmowers. That's what the last 6.5 years have been about. Wouldn't you first have to be able to afford to rent or buy a house, have that house have a lawn, and then purchase a lawnmower in order for this to make sense? Also, who the hell insures their lawnmower?
Oh, I think Brexit's going extremely well, and we've saved the small matter of £191 billion by not being part of the EU's plans to recover from COVID.
Yes, although we have lost a slightly larger matter of £100 billion a year, or £300 billion since we left. Even the Sex Pistols' Glenn Matlock's not happy.
You dirty sod. You dirty old man.
Well, keep going, Chick, keep going. Go on, you've got another 5 seconds. Say something outrageous.
You dirty bastard.
Go on, again.
You dirty fucker.
What a clever boy.
What a fucking rotter.
Whoops, no, that's the Sex Pistols interview with Boris Johnson.
I'm not angry, I'm livid about the whole Brexit thing. I'm livid as a musician about the loss of our movement in 27 countries.
Well, to be fair, this government is pretty vacant. Thank you. OK, you want a Brexit benefit? Try this.
It's been the most horrendous period for the Conservative Party, and Labour are benefiting from that.
Brexit is also partly responsible for our projected lack of growth in 2023. Have a look at this graph, which is based on forecasts made by the IMF and shows a list of countries, including Russia, who are all showing signs of recovery. The UK is at the bottom of this list. on minus 0.6% expected growth for the year ahead. Wait, we're going to be doing worse than a country at war? Right-wing commentators, though, have poured scorn on the IMF's projections.
Staying on Brexit, but indirectly, a gloomy economic outlook from the IMF announced yesterday.
I wouldn't back IMF forecasts. They're not really very valuable.
Exactly. Can't trust what the IMF are telling us. I mean, how long have they been having that closing down sale? Brexit, though, wasn't the only anniversary being celebrated last week. It's been 100 years since Rishi Sunak became Prime Minister. I meant, of course, 100 days. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? And how's he doing so far?
Well, when I appointed Nadhim Zahawi to his current job, no issues were raised with me about that appointment.
Were there any concerns, even informal ones, raised with you about the conduct of Dominic Raab before you appointed him as your deputy?
Now, I've been very clear. I don't recognise the characterisation of Dominic's behaviour.
Protesting over pay, jobs and conditions. 500,000 workers across the country.
The Prime Minister sat down with sweaty, purse-lipped ham, Piers Morgan, to talk about his first, and let's be honest, his last 100 days in office. And the subject quickly got on to Ukraine.
But they want jets. Boris Johnson says you should send jets. Should we send jets?
So the issue is, what is the support that we can provide that we think will make the most difference?
He's going to clap for them, isn't he? Speaking of clapping...
If the country is told to go out and applaud these people every Thursday for risking their lives in a pandemic, and our reward is to kick him in the teeth the moment it's over, I don't think it's fair.
Look, I would love to give the nurses a massive pay rise. It's about choices.
And he's chosen not to give the nurses a pay rise.
A lot of people have been suggesting that you may have benefited some way financially from pharmaceutical companies.
My investments are in what's called a blind management arrangement.
Do you think it's right that a Prime Minister should have blind trust?
Blind trust. That about sums up his time in office. Honestly, for all the good he's done, we may as well have kept Liz Truss in charge. Speaking of which, she's back. Sort of. The WhatsApp group that was back in her disastrous time in office appears to have been reignited, as many Tory MPs want the government to hand out tax cuts. Because, you know, that worked out so well the last time.
We haven't heard much from Liz Truss in the past 100 days. She's said to have taken a breather.
Still seems to feel, doesn't she, Lucy, that she was hard done by.
Hard done by? £30 million wiped out in nearly as many days, while handing out £2 billion to the rich. And when things didn't go to plan, she went into hiding. Honestly, for all the good she did, we may as well have kept Boris Johnson in charge. Speaking of which, the blonde blowhard has been in the States, meeting Republicans. They aren't the ones in charge, Boris. And he sat down with ABC News to talk about Ukraine.
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson indeed. That tie, though.
What brought you here to DC?
I'm here really to make it.
There, you'll make it anywhere? Johnson also reminisced on an encounter with Putin.
Where you say that Putin said to you on the phone, Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would only take a minute.
You can't blame Putin for being upset. It was your Brexit anniversary, and you didn't even get him a card. Johnson is facing problems at home due to legal action being taken against him for lying about attending parties during lockdown. So he's doing what he does best, buggering off and leaving us with the bill, which could be £250,000. So the man who made £1 million in 6 weeks is paid $84,000 a year as an MP, over $164,000 in perpetuity for being a crap PM, and a line of seemingly endless credit from anyone after a top job is getting legal aid. He's now doing to the country what he's done to his ex-wives. There was a general strike on Wednesday, which saw some 500,000 come out for better pay and conditions. And the government is seeing support slump away from them. Quick, blame Corbyn! Meanwhile, Sarah Vile, right-wing newspaper shit-stirrer and Minister for Punching Down, shared her own views. Writing in the Daily Mail, she said, does anyone give a fig about all of us hard-working taxpayers whose lives are being wrecked by strikes? Worth mentioning, writing a weekly political update is not hard work. She should try editing videos into it. Well, if it's taxpayers she's championing, then maybe work for another paper. As the owner of the Daily Mail, the working geezer that is a 4 Viscount of Rothmere, Jonathan Salt of the Earth Harmsworth is a billionaire that pays to enjoy non-DOMS tax status. I'll tell you what, I don't think much of that new intake on The Apprentice.
My name's Dominic Raab and I'm a Tory. I don't support the Human Rights Act and I don't believe in economic and social rights.
Dominic Raab is facing increasing pressure over his bullying allegations, and Sunak has come under the pressure to fire him. But come on, is he Deputy Prime Minister? A job so pointless, Nick Clegg once held it.
Specifics, exactly what he said. And the Prime Minister, apparently, according to the senior civil servant, was briefed in person about a specific complaint.
Forgive me, you must allow me to answer the question fully on such a sensitive issue rather than constantly interrupting.
Ooh, don't make him angry. He has got support from MP for North East Somerset and Leaning Tower Epistate, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I think we've got to be slightly careful about the bullying allegations. People need to be able to say this job has not been done well enough and needs to be done better.
Oh, does that go for Brexit opportunity MPs too? And that's it. No time to talk about Matt Hancock going on G&B to beg for a little understanding. He's just a cunt, standing in front of a country asking to be forgiven.
A lot of people find it completely astonishing that you could stand at the podium month after month telling people to stick to the rules. But for some reason, they didn't apply to you. Why not?
Well, I'm only human.
Yeah, I'd like to see the DNA test first.
This is what I asked for forgiveness in the jungle for. I'm human. I've described in my book.
From all bad bookstores, order now and get your complimentary onion. Cut it open and watch the tears flow. Only $12.99, and remember, 3p of that goes to charity. You could release a follow-up book about your time in the jungle, Matt. You could call it My Camp or something. No time to talk about the fact that not everyone is struggling with high energy bills. Some are causing them.
The oil and gas giant Shell has posted record profits, the highest annual figures in the British firm's history.
This is not just the most money that Shell has ever made in its 115-year history. By my estimations, it's the biggest profit ever recorded by a UK-based company.
That's not good. But remember, Shell has earned that money through war in Ukraine and speeding up the destruction of the planet. Besides, what are we supposed to do? Tax them? They are already paying a windfall tax. Are they supposed to pay more? I mean, how is that even possible?
From all of us paying our energy bills. Profits are 3 times higher, energy bills are 3 times higher. It's not a coincidence.
Well, it sort of is. Okay,
it's not.
So
they're
hang on a
making
second.
profit.
So
Our energy prices are going up.
So Shell Energy. How do you tax them more?
You increase the taxes that they have to pay.
Okay.
It's crazy, but it might just work. No time to talk about the fact that I will be taking part in a podcast starting soon with Andrea Bridges-Smith, who has a political comedy YouTube channel called The Friday Phoenix, which brings all the topical ridiculousness from the US. Go check it out. Basically, Andrea does the same thing I do here, but on the other side of the pond. And it's better, but don't tell her I said that. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you are enjoying these vids, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit all the notifications bell, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.